Hello, everybody. Welcome here. Who can I see? Hey, Nikki. Hey, Moonlight. Hey, Angie. Hi, Nadine. Oh, I've got more people coming in the waiting room. Susie, I think that's you. Hey, Amy, Leslie, Teresa. Hello, Hazel. Hi, Bernadette, Laura, Tamara, Rebecca, and lots of people off camera, which I totally understand. How was my holiday? It was beautiful, thank you. I am just back from Thailand. I love Thailand. It's the most magnificent place. And it was just what I needed. Oh, hey, Betsy. All right, let me just get the chat up because that has disappeared. I'm well, thank you, Heather. To get started, and while we're just waiting for everyone to land and arrive, I would love to know 1 to 5 how you are feeling this evening. So 1 is like, I don't know what day it is. I'm not even sure what's going on. I've got no bandwidth. 5 is like, I'm raring to go and give me all the things. Let me know. By the way, if we get to 44 people tonight, there's something going on. I have seen 44 and 444 like all day long. So that's what I am I'm anticipating this evening. Okay. We have got 4s and 5s and 3s. Amazing. And I just want you to really allow that to be. So whatever your number is, there's no right or wrong here. And as you'll learn as we go through this evening, everything's an invitation. And so as you have just spent a moment just tuning in and receiving that number and getting that gauge, it's something that you can notice through the evening about what we are as we're moving through, how that number changes, if it fluctuates, if it moves, if it has anything it wants to say to you. So that is your invitation for tonight. For Catherine, both on the same Zoom. Oh, I love that. And we're on 33. So the numbers are already speaking. I would love to know who I have in the room, although I have seen some of you. Give me a 1 in the chat if you have learned from me before on some capacity. Give me a 2 if you are brand new. Give me a 3 if you've been with me before, maybe on a free training or something small. But this is your first kind of one of these. So what we got? We got 1s, lots of 1s. Oh, hello, Bernadette, and welcome. Hi, Tamara. Caroline, hello. Amazing. Okay, so we've got a real mixed bag. And the next thing I would love to know, who knows anything about the Akashic Records? Give me a 1 if like, yep, know what it is. 2 if you're like, no clue. What are these words that you're saying? Oh, okay. That's very clear. Don't worry, Hazel, we won't lose you. Don't worry, Laura, we won't lose you. Okay. Well, welcome here. And I just want to start by saying thank you for coming, for bringing this, bringing your energy into this space today. I know it's a Sunday, and I know that if you are here, that you felt something. There's been some form of calling. You don't show up to something like this just because you've got nothing else to do. So I really want to start by honoring that. Tonight's call, it isn't really a teaching call in the usual sense. It's more of an orientation. I'm going to be sharing with you what I've been working on and discovering for the last long time, especially over the last couple of years, working in this space, in the healing space and the well-being space. The things that I've noticed and what I can see is the invitation to change. Now, you may or may not know, but for the past 12 months, I've been really working on something special. And I've been asking some really good questions. For me, I've been on a long journey of mentorship, of learning, of curiosity, way back from when I learnt Reiki, first of all, in 2008. If you know me in any way, you know I have a very curious mind. I want to know everything about everything. And then I want to find better ways of doing things. Not because anything is wrong, but this is just how I've always been since I was a child. Through my journey, um, I took a long shamanic apprenticeship. That was a big teaching for me. I've more recently, in the last 3 years, completed my psychotherapy diploma, which has given me a massive insight into the science and how the mind works with our spirituality. And alongside all of this, I've been working in a field called the Akashic Records. The Akashic Records is where I've been doing all of this inquiry. And back from the first time that I ever entered the records, all the way back in 2016, they invited me to work with them differently. As you can imagine, being the curious mind that I am, as soon as I heard about the Akashic Records, I did everything I can to learn everything I could about it. And everything I was reading was both fascinating and mystical and deeply revealing. And it felt like there was something else. And from the first time that I entered the records, which are your soul's library, they're this library that holds everything that we are, as a soul, have been, have said, have known, have done. They offered me an invitation, and they said to me in that very first initiation into the records that I'm meant to be working with them. And like any healer, empath, human, I was like, no, not me. I don't even know what they are. I've only just heard of them. But little did I know that was the beginning of something quite special. And it was since then that really the invitation for me was, how do we work with the records in a way that is both sacred and true, but also accessible? Because for me, and everything that I read and learned, is that they felt so far away and they felt so distant. Yet here we are with a field that holds everything that we are, everything that we've been, and everything that we're becoming. That how can this field be so distant? How can it be something that we need to go through 100,000 initiations to get into? How can it be that the information in there is so profound and mystical and far away that we can't learn from them? And even then, in my first 2 or 3 or 4 Akashic journeys, there was this invitation, this opening for me, this request from me that how do we make this more accessible? How is this wisdom that is held in this field, that loves us unconditionally, that holds everything that we've been through and doesn't judge us at all? And as I learned from my own personal experience, holds this key or this bridge or this gateway into who we're becoming. Surely, that if we are inclined towards this field, if we have this pull, if we have this integrity, if we have this need to want to evolve and grow, surely there must be an easier way. And that was the beginning of my discovery. And since then, I've been working, I don't want to say long and hard, it's definitely been long, but diligently and with devotion in this field. And throughout my psychotherapy training and throughout even my shamanic training, I've had this curiosity of, how does all of this work within the Akashic field? How does this protocol or this healing modality, or even energy healing such as Reiki, even mediumship, even intuition, all of these practices and frequencies that we have access to, they're all held in our records. And so what's the link? And I began to discover a lot. I began to discover how intuition is something that is our birthright, but so many of us find so hard to actually tune into. Give me a 1 in the chat if you know that you're intuitive, but sometimes you just like, ugh, there's too many things. You second guess yourself. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. But yet we know, right? We know that intuition is ours. We know that it's something that we've got, and we know that it's true. We know that it's powerful in some way or another. So why would we have this if we can't access it? And what on earth is going on there? How many of us have worked with the law of attraction? Just give me a show of hands. And sometimes it works beautifully. And give me a 2 if you've ever had it where you're like, but I don't understand. I'm doing all the things, I'm saying the affirmations, and it's still not coming true. Why does it sometimes work and why does it sometimes not? Me, right? When I delved into the records, when I asked the soul's library, what's going on here? I started to receive answers that went beyond what I learnt through The Secret or through Abraham Hicks, which are all incredible resources, and they sometimes work and they sometimes don't. And perhaps most importantly, I started to look at healing and shadow work. Any shadow hunters in the group tonight? Give me a 5 for shadow hunters. I love a bit of shadow work. And we get lost in this perpetual cycle of, who's asked this question? What's wrong with me? Anyone ever asked themselves that question? What's wrong with me? What kind of question is that? And you know how our brain works? You ask it a question, guess what it's going to do? It's going to answer you. It's going to go and search all of the archives. It's going to go and search the Akashic records. It's going to go and search your past experiences, and it's going to go and search society, and it's going to go, here we go. I shall deliver to you everything that is wrong with you. And then your job as healers, as intuitives, as therapists, as coaches, as just human beings, is to go and find that and to fix it, right? I find my shadow. I find out what's wrong with me. Now I'm going to go fix it. Let me go fix it. And then what happens? Maybe we do. Maybe we fix the problem. And then we're back the next week. There's something else. Because even though we fix that, we're wondering, well, still, why am I not manifesting? Still, why haven't I created the business that I want? Still, why is my relationship not working? Still, why am I not living my destiny? Still, why am I finding myself looping in this field of like, I'm lost? And I started to look at the teachings that are available to us all. And I started to see this commonality that when it comes to healing and when it comes to shadow work, we've been coming at it all wrong. There's some theories about how things can grow and develop. And there's this one theory that when we go into the original, right, we go into the baseline, we go into the foundation, that everything builds from this. And we can look at religion, for example, right? And we can look at the original sin, that we are all sinners. And whatever you believe in that or not, we can start to look that wherever we begin, we can evolve and grow and we can move, but we're always going to end up back at the beginning. If we start as sinners, even however enlightened we are and however enlightened we're going to be, we're going to reach nirvana and then we're going to go into purgatory and then we're going to be back where we started, right? when it comes to healing, when it comes to manifestation, and when it comes to intuition, if we're looking at everything from this place of what's broken, how do I fix myself? What's quite amazing, it doesn't matter how much work we've done. It doesn't matter how much healing we go through. It doesn't matter how much shadow work we do. It doesn't matter how many affirmations we allow ourselves to say every day. We always come back and we end with this. What next? I'm still broken. What now? I still don't feel. Has anyone had that experience that we feel this, that we're looping? Give me a, what number am I? Give me a 7. I like a 7 in the chat. That we start this, we see it with our clients. They come to us and they say to us, oh, I've got this. And they come and they sit on your Reiki bed and they fall asleep. They leave, they're like, I'm so relaxed, this was amazing. And then they come back the next week, having not transformed, having not changed. Yes, they've had some respite. Yes, they've had some soothing. Yes, they've regulated their nervous system for another day or week or maybe even month. But then they come back still with this feeling of something's wrong and something's broken. And I see how much this resonates with everyone with all the 7s. And actually, when you think about it and start speaking about it, it doesn't seem right, right? It seems like there's something fundamentally wrong with the way that we've been doing things. Not because anything's broken, not because healing is wrong, not because we shouldn't be doing the shadow work and the affirmations and the Reiki, but how we approach it and how we move into what it is that we're doing, how we start it, what the foundation is. Are we original sinners? Are we started with broken, or are we already perfect? Imagine the difference when you walk into with your healer or your mentor or your coach, or a client comes into you, and rather than, I've got this problem, I need it fixing, and then you work to fixing that problem. Imagine that you're held in, you're already perfect. Imagine you're held in, everything's amazing. Everything's as it's meant to be. Imagine you're seen in your highest potential, and that whatever's happening and whatever's presenting for you and whatever it is that you've said or done or regret or are worrying about are not issues to be fixed, but invitations to explore. And that your healer or your coach or your mentor holds you in your highest evolution, in your highest standard. Imagine the difference that you feel after that hour, rather than they're there, we'll all be okay. Let's fix you. Come to my table. It's none of our faults. It's this insidious line that has been weaved through. Right, it would be empowering at the very least. And you know what? That energy is what I've discovered every single time I've entered the Akashic Records. Every time I've gone in there with my bag of shadows and gone, hey, let's fix all of this, the response I get is, there's nothing to be fixed. Every time I open up that bag and go, there's a bit of shame that I've been carrying around with me for the last 6 lifetimes. And I open it up, rather than shock, horror, what did you do? Let's fix it. Let's transmute it and change it. It's, hey, we love you. Let's see where this can lead you. Every time I've gone in there with a physical ailment, with an emotional ailment, with a worry that I've had, with a question, Not once have I been met with you bad, bad person. Not once have I been met with there. Not once have I been met with, don't worry, we've got this, we'll fix it. Every single time from this field that is held by teachers and guides and these very high frequency beings, if you like, it's always been the same. It's, I see you. I see what you've done. I see who you've been. I've seen what you are, and we still love you. I've seen what you've been. I've seen who you are. I see what you're becoming. And there was no coincidence here. That even that is going to be leading you to your greatness. Like Nadine says, no judgment, pure unconditional love. Pure unconditional love. And that was the biggest healing for me. And that's what I learned again and again and again. And I'm not that slow, but it took me a little while to actually like go, okay, I see what's going on here. That the healing didn't come in these incredible protocols and in the psychotherapeutic practices and in the way that the hands were moving or the affirmations that we said. Yes, these are helpful, and yes, there's definitely a place for this, but the healing, the transmutation, the transformation, the real change, the thing that got me from here to here, or at least pushed me on the journey, was this simplicity of, I see you, I acknowledge it, this thing happened, I still love you, and I am becoming. Let's go do this thing. And as I started to see this and experience this again and again and again, and I started to speak to clients and colleagues and people in different fields and therapists and coaches and mentors and people like on their spiritual path, I started to realize quite how insidious the opposite of this was. And it's all done with good intention, and this is not me, you know, calling out an industry. It's something I noticed, and guess what, it became an invitation for me. For the past 3 months, I've been working with a group of 10 incredible individuals who I swore into top secrecy. Some of them are here. Many of them are here. You give us a wave if you're here. Put it in the chat. Say, I'm here. I'm here. These are my current and past students who I shared this with on the equinox, actually, in last fall. And I've been working with these incredible change makers, evolvers in top secret. And it's been so hard, hasn't it? Not to be able to say anything. Well, we've been doing this work. And tonight, in a little while, not straight away, but in a little while, I'm going to be revealing to you what that is. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal for me today. Lips have been sealed. You've all been very good. I should give you all a medal for just how top secret you've been. I'm like, someone's going to let the cat out the bag, and no one did. I'm very impressed. So we together have been working in the Akashic Records together, doing something very simple, but something very profound. And tonight, I would love to share some of the practices and protocols with you in a way that, well, you'll see and you'll feel. So why don't we start with this? Why don't we start with just a little practice? If you're not driving or in the middle of the aurora, like Hazel seems to be, Put your hands on your heart or on your belly or on your lap, or just somewhere that feels good, somewhere that feels comfortable. And just take a breath in. Just bring a breath into the body and just feel where you are on this day, on this time, in the space that you're in, whatever's around you. And I just want you to bring your awareness into a flame. You can just imagine that there's a flame in your heart or around your body. And I just want you to begin to tune in to this beautiful flame. And you don't need to know how you can see it or experience it. It may feel like it's just in your imagination or you just have an awareness, but however it works for you, just bring your awareness into this flame. I just want you to notice how it dances, how it moves. Whether it's big or small, warm or cool. Maybe it has a color. Maybe it has shape or some symbols around it. But just for now, all we're doing is noticing this flame. And my invitation for you this evening is to know that this flame is with you, to know that this flame is guiding you. To begin to build a relationship with this flame as a living, breathing entity within you. To ask it to bring presence. To ask it to bring illumination. To ask it to bring whatever you need. And for those that were here right at the beginning of the call, where you found your number 1 to 5, you brought your presence in of where you are. Just invite your flame into that. This is how I am right now. And just like the flame dances and moves and fluctuates, know that so will your feelings and your thoughts, your emotions. And I'm just going to invite you to, knowing that this is your flame, just to place it wherever feels right for you. If you want to move it somewhere in the body, you can. If you want to make it bigger or smaller, you can. Just let it be where it feels right. Knowing that it will be with you throughout this experience. It grounds you and brings you here. And when you're ready, just come back. Come back. Let me know in the chat if your number's changed. If it's gone up or down or stayed the same. Just put up, down, same. If you weren't here for the number, give me a number. Give me a number 1 to 5. 5. Loving all the 5s. I'm loving all the 1s and 2s as well. Amazing. And sometimes it can be that simple. Sometimes it can simply be bringing that presence and bringing that awareness into something that's always been there, even if we've not had the acknowledgement. Sometimes it doesn't have to be so complicated. So I'm going to tell you what happened there. In fact, before that, I'm gonna take you on a little story. about my own healing journey and some of the things that I've noticed. What we just did there was bring our awareness into a living, breathing flame, and this is part of what we've been working with over the last year or so, year and a half actually, with me and my soul school clients. But what's happening when we're working with something like this from this Akashic Records point of view is we're coming into the truth. We're coming into the original. We're coming into the essence of who we are. And what I've noticed is when we come into the essence, all of the other stuff begins to fall away. Now, we can start to think about, what I said about everything's perfect as it is, and everything's an invitation. And then you're like, but it's not perfect, Melissa. I have this problem and I want to fix it. And I know you say nothing needs fixing, but actually I have this problem and I'd quite like to fix it. And it doesn't feel like it's right. Right? Been there? Because it's really annoying when somebody says that. It's really annoying when someone's like, no, everything's perfect. Everything is what it is. When for me, I was left feeling like I was inadequate or I was broken, ironically, or that I shouldn't be feeling a certain way. Even look at the Reiki principles. How many Reiki practitioners are in the space? Give me a one. If you're a Reiki practitioner, give me a wave, right? Quite a few. What's the first principle? Just for today, I will not anger. Just for today, I will not anger. It's like, but I feel angry. Does that mean being angry is wrong? And for me, when I first learned Reiki, and I remember on my first day, and there was that, just for today I will not anger, just for today I will not worry. And I'm like, shit, I was angry on the way here. Does that mean I've done something wrong? And then I'm worrying about being angry, and I'm like, well, this is not going very well. And so we start to shroud this anger, we start to shroud this very human emotion in shame, and we try and repress it, and we try and like love and light our way out of it. And it doesn't really work, right? How many of us felt that way when we heard that? I will not anger, and we're like, I'll try, but I can't promise. And for me, 18 years on, I still get angry sometimes, right? Does it make me bad? No. And what I started to realize is that we have these emotions, we have these feelings, we have these experiences, we have these desires, we have these reactions, and we have these programmings which lead us into creating certain ways of being. And what I started to notice happening from an Akashic Records point of view, right, is so we have this record, or we have these records, and you can see it if you like a library. I'm not sure that's quite really true what it is, but it's a good analogy. So we can see it like this library of experiences, yes? And every single experience that we've ever had, every thought, every desire, every action, every feeling, everything is held in these records, right? And so something happens and that's scored. And then we're told, I do not anger, or we're told that something is bad or wrong, or we feel like something needs to be fixed. And what happens is we begin to create these, what I identify as overlays, right? So something happens and we start to create these thoughts around it, these feelings around it, these actions around it, these behaviors around it, right? So I do this thing. Now I'm ashamed because I shouldn't have done it. I shouted at a kid or whatever. And now I feel ashamed. So I put this overlay on it. And then because I'm now feeling ashamed, now I'm getting angry with myself. And now that I'm getting angry with myself, now I feel guilty because I shouted. And now because I feel guilty, now I'm punishing myself and telling myself that I'm a horrible person. Now I'm telling myself I'm a horrible person means that I'm now not going to go and do the thing of help my client, because how can I do that, because I feel like I'm an imposter. And now because I feel an imposter, now I'm not going to share my business anymore, and now I'm not going to share my business anymore. Now I'm going to do, and you can see how it kind of keeps perpetuating, right? Just keeps going on and on and on. When everything that happens started from one incident. And what I started to understand was that these overlays were starting to become our identity. They were starting to be the things that were guiding us. They were almost like these tinted glasses that we started to see the world through. And we started to tell ourselves stories about who I am and what I believe and who I know myself to be, which is wonderful, except they're not true. How many of us have said, oh, well, I'm, name your thing, I'm lazy, or I'm a fitness freak, or I'm a Pisces, or we start to say, I am. And what's happening is we're coming in from these overlays, which have nothing to do with what we are. They're simply behaviors that we have experienced or perpetuated, right? And actually, through my psychotherapy training, we started to learn quite how ingrained these things can be. But this thing of I'm perfect, even though I don't feel it because I've got all of these overlays, this thing of I'm perfect is a truth. But where that sits is here. Where that sits is in this, what I see as this divine hologram, this divine blueprint, this thing that we came down with, right? Which holds our temperament, which holds our human design, which holds our astrology, which holds our lineage, our ancestors, our parents, our past lives, which holds the makeup of who we are, which every time I went and see Akashic Records, guess what they said? That's perfect. And you're like, well, it didn't feel like perfect because I felt like my parents were the wrong ones and I was the black sheep and my friends were this and I was that and la la. And they were like, this was perfect. This was this can be a bit triggering, but this was a choice. This was the soul's destiny. This was the soul's blueprint of everything that you are becoming. And that everything that is contained in here has this divine perfection that should we live to this, we will evolve and grow as we are meant to do. This was never needed to be fixed. This is our invitation into who and what am I becoming as a human and as a soul. And so then when the shame came up, or then when the behavior came up, or then when the programming came up, then when the shadow came up, these are all invitations into, hey, where's the divine love here? Hey, where's the growth here? Hey, where's the becoming here? Hey, where's the compassion? Where's the learning? If here in my divine blueprint, I was here to learn unconditional love, and here were all these conditional loves, what if every single one of them was an invitation into becoming more? Not a problem to be fixed, an invitation into growth. What if, as healers, coaches, intuitives, guides, humans, we looked at everything from this divine blueprint and saw that everything that sat on top was not an identity, was not a problem to be fixed, but an invitation into becoming? What if these overlays were all clues into what it is that I'm here to work on? Whether that came through past lives, whether that came through a journey that I'm going through now, whether that came through my karmic experience, it doesn't matter. We have this divine blueprint. But most of us, and most of the healing space and the interventions that I've seen, are working from this overlay place. I'm going to take the overlay and I'm going to look at it. Am I going to rip it up, throw it into the waste paper bin? Or we're going to burn it and transmute it into something else? Or we're going to hide it? Or in in some therapeutic, we're just going to keep on banging that one. We're just going to keep on looking at that and forming it more into our identity. And there's one key that helps us to, rather than live from our overlays, which many of us do, it's the default, it's the patterning, it's what was been drummed into us, but to not transmute it necessarily, not to heal it, not to fix it, not to change it, but to integrate it, so that this overlay becomes the part of the puzzle, that we become empowered, we become embodied, we become integrated, we become more of who we are, rather than, well, this is part of my genetic makeup and therefore this is the thing that I know myself to be. This was a part of me, this was a facet, this was an experience that I'm having and maybe continue to have. There's one key that stops it from becoming the lens that we see the world through. Because what would change for you if you saw if your lens was through your divine blueprint? Pop some words in the chat. If your divine blueprint, the thing that's leading you to your destiny, was the thing that was like your guiding star, right? So that like, there it is. This is my guiding star. And what sits on top of all of these other overlays, which means I can't see it, right? So instead I'm seeing the world through this lens and maybe these three lenses, and now it's all a little bit brown, right? But here at the bottom, maybe I should use a crystal. Here at the bottom is your divine blueprint, your divine light. This is where your intuition lives. This is where your soul communication lives. This is where your higher self lives. And all of this are the experiences that are asking you to be more in there. If you lived from this, if you knew yourself through this, if every day you knew that you were a perfect being that was having a human experience, and rather than needed to be fixed, you just needed to evolve, what would change for you? Pop some words in, because I've been talking for a long time. For me, what changed is I started to know myself. For me, what changed is my intuition became a lot sharper. For me, what changed is I could trust that the universe has always got my back, that this or better. I'd have more awareness. Yes, I'd have more trust. Coherence is one of my favorite words, right? Peace. I'm no longer fighting against all of this stuff, because that's what we're taught. Fix it. Be broken. Transcend your ego. Come on. Your ego's a part of you. You're never going to transcend it. But maybe you stop listening to it as it being your be all and end all. And maybe at some point we realize that this is sitting below, and that these are simply the lenses that we've been invited to see the world in. Self-compassion, ease. My whole life would change. I'd be more present with trust. I believe we are limitless and everything is perfect, an incredible lightness of being. Yes, my caption is a divine being living in a human experience, and that's what we are. And here's the thing, like the paradox. The deeper you get into this, you realize everything's a paradox, by the way. But the paradox is that this is your human experience. All of this, every single one of the overlays, they're perfect. They're exactly what you were meant to do. And yes, they're uncomfortable, but if you think about how our body works, right? If you've put your hand on a burning radiator, yes, it hurts, right? You get pain in your hand. It's this divine, perfect system, right? And so what do? You feel the pain, you move your hand. Simple, perfect. If we didn't have pain, and I know there's a condition where people don't feel pain and they end up with burn marks and their skin melting off because they don't have that link, right? These things that are our troubles, these things that are our questions, these things that are our challenges that we're here to overcome, for many of it, it's that pain that's inviting us to do something, that's asking for our attention. For example, right, I said there's one key, and maybe some of you can guess what it is, but there's one key to all of this. When I practice yoga, I'm definitely a yoga nut. I love yoga. When I practice yoga, like sometimes it's hard, right? Sometimes, or if you do any form of exercise, even last week in Thailand, I was climbing up a mountain and it was hard. Like it was tough on the body. And quite often we can come into this, like we berate our bodies. We're like, oh, well, why aren't I stronger? Or, oh, why aren't I fitter? Or why haven't I got the lung capacity? Or why is it so hot? Blah, 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 right? But for me, when I'm sitting in yoga and I'm in a position and I feel pain and you start to tense up, that's what you do, right? You're like, no, and you want to come out of it. What happens when we say to it, well, I love you? What happens when we bring awareness into that point of the body and we breathe into it? Any decent yoga teacher will be like, breathe into it. Because what are we doing there? We're bringing the awareness in. We're bringing an awareness in and we're going, okay, I see you. I love you. And what happens? Things soften. As opposed to, there's one lady in my class, and like bless her, she clearly has some issues with her hip. But she's sitting there and she's like, oh, and you can kind of hear her swearing under her breath and like berating her body. And I understand the frustration. But imagine what the body's doing. In my experience, I'm feeling a stretch, I'm feeling something that's uncomfortable, and I'm meeting it and I'm going, hey, I love you. I'm bringing that flame that I introduced you all to, which most of you said help raise it or keep you at the level, right? I'm bringing that flame into it and everything's softening. The invitation for me is this wants attention. And rather than get angry at it, rather than put it in shame, which from an Akashic Records point of view is going, here's a problem. Oh, look how we deal with it. We get angry, we get shame, we berate ourselves, we tell ourselves we're too old or too weak or too inflexible or too whatever we tell ourselves. And I can see this happening in real time. Whereas in my records, it's going, okay, there's an invitation. And then the body responds. In fact, let's do it. Who wants to do it? Take you 3 minutes. The quickest thing. I just want you to find somewhere in your body, mental, emotional, physical. I just want you to find something in your body that's like icky, sticky, something that wants your attention right now. It could be big, it could be small, it could be imaginary, it could be past, it could be very present. I just want you to find something in the body. And the first thing I want you to do is just breathe into it. You can place your hand there if that feels right or good. I just want you to bring your awareness into somewhere in your body that just feels a bit tight, a bit sticky, a bit heavy. And if you're going through something emotionally, just wonder where it might be in the body. And then once you've found it, I just want you to acknowledge it. Just say hello. I see you. I feel you. I see you, I feel you. And then what happens when you just say, I love you. And even if it's hard to love something like this that feels so sticky or hard, what if you could just love the message that it's trying to speak to you? What if you could just love the part that wants it to be better? I love you. And that flame that you connected with earlier, what if you brought that flame into that space? Not to move it, not to change it, not to make it better, but simply to bring the love into that space. I love you. I love you. And I can feel we're all an intuitive bunch in here. So I'm just going to take this a step further. As you bring the love, so maybe this is the greatest form of love you know, shape, a color, a being, or just the word. If love had a message for you right now about this feeling in the body, what would it be? Divine love. If you had a message for me right now, what would it be? Just let it come. Might come in words, might come in a feeling, might come in a knowing, might come in something completely different. If love had a message for me now, what would it be? And if that message is something to do, just take notes and just say thank you. And then bring your awareness back into that space and just notice what's changed. Just notice what's changed. And then whenever you're ready, and you can keep your awareness or the flame or your hands on this space for as long as you wish, just come back and let me know in the chat what changed. The tension disappeared. By magic. It eased and relaxed. You felt peace. You felt lighter. You felt more at ease. And remember, beautiful, a remembrance of your journey. And here's the thing. This feeling of light, this feeling of peace, this feeling of relaxation, this feeling of remembrance, this message, stop holding what isn't yours. You hold the key, right? I heard advice, trust my voice. I'm feeling angry, but now I feel calm, right? One word. There was a technology sitting behind it, but this is one word, or 3 words. I love you. Because what is happening from an Akashic Records point of view is this thing that I just invited you. I didn't say find the most comfortable part of your body. I said to you, find something that's icky or sticky or tense. And you see how by tuning into this, how tuning into the thing that feels heavy gave you this gift that you wouldn't have got if you'd have tuned into the end of your nose, right? Or your right elbow. It came from that. It came from this acknowledgement. It came from this overlay, because the overlay isn't here to sabotage you. The overlay isn't here to, cause you problems. The overlay holds so much gold and so much understanding of life. And as we tune into it, and rather than shroud it in more frustration and anger and tension, we bring the key that the Akashic field holds in abundance, non-judgment, acceptance, and love. It opens up and it gives you more than what you had before. And then that overlay, which you're feeling as a physical sensation in the body, because this is how the body works, the mind, body, soul is all connected, is then going, and it opens up. And it gives you a message like it's time. It gives you a message like the anger doesn't need to be here, because we're trying to micromanage an outcome that was never ours to micromanage. It's that simple. I love you. And so what's happening, if I took that one overlay and we see it like like this, rather than it being shrouded in all of this stuff, all of these heavy, dense energies, if you're familiar with the vibrational scale, yeah, shame, despair, anger, guilt, they're heavy and they're hard. They're like ice. They're hard around it. We bring love into it and it melts it. And then suddenly I have the message, true service. I bow to you. Suddenly I have the message. And then it opens up and then it relaxes. And then rather than it being the lens that I see the world in, it forms part of who we are and who we're becoming. I don't need to fight against it anymore. But you understand that it came from the pain. It came from the thing that we thought we needed fixing, but we didn't need to fix it. The biggest lie we've been sold is we're broken and we need fixing. For me, the evolution of healing is this. If we just change this, if you just take one thing from tonight, it's just this. Healing is not about fixing. Healing is about evolving. Healing is simply an evolutionary path. Healing is taking where we are and knowing that it's okay. I don't like what's happening right here. It's okay, but it's growing. It's okay but it's moving. Like the acorn. No one looks at an acorn and goes, you're broken because you're not the oak tree yet. We look at an acorn and we know it has a potential in here. We look at the acorn and wow. You have got a whole life ahead of you. And if I put you in the right environment and we nurture you and the sun and the rain and whatever, then maybe you'll turn into an oak tree. Or maybe you'll turn into food for the squirrel. Or maybe you'll turn into something that sits on Melissa's altar, which was the fate of this one, right? But it's not broken. It's perfect. The solution's not outside of you. The solution's always within, and it's within that love. It's within that knowing. It's within that pure acceptance of, I'm the acorn and I'm perfect and I'm still growing. It's not perfect. Everything's fine. Nothing needs to change here. We're good. I'm going to have my broken leg and I'm going to keep it broken because Melissa said everything's perfect. It's not that. The leg needs to heal, right? The pain wants to go. Yeah, the shame wants to move through all of that. And we're moving, we're becoming, we're evolving. And what I'm saying at the beginning about what's the foundation, imagine you treated every single client as you're perfect because I see your divine blueprint. I see this perfection in you. And I understand that every single one of those overlays is an invitation into you becoming more. That one day you'll become the 150-year-old oak tree, God willing, or the food for the squirrel. And even when you're the 150-year-old oak tree, in another year, you'll be the 151-year-old oak tree. It's continual. It was never ending. It's not an ever-ending healing cycle of I'm never going to be fixed. It's an never-ending healing cycle of I'm going to keep on growing. I'm going to keep on learning. I'm going to keep on expanding. I'm going to keep on becoming until the day I die and beyond. I'm evolving. And this is exciting, right? I don't get to a certain age and then deteriorate. I am still here and I'm still going and I'm still glowing, right? Very exciting. It is. And this, for me, when I discovered all this, I didn't make this up. This was like discovery. This was learning. This was like, whoa. And through my work in the Akashic Records, through my work with hundreds of clients, through all the psychotherapy training, and through the work that I've been doing with my students, especially over the last 3 months and the last 2 years in Soul School, this is what it all became. All the answers are within us. It's like a roadmap back to ourselves. Yes, Marina, that's exactly what it is. And it's understanding, because we've been looking at it wrong, many of us. The Akashic Records for me was what brought it all together. And this is what I've been working on. And this is my big announcement tonight. Because for a long time, as you can tell, this is something I'm very passionate about, and it's something I'm very curious about. And I've been in a very unique position where I can ask big questions and sit and wait for the answer. And I'm very blessed to have a beautiful community where I, can discuss and try out and practice. And so if I take you back to just over a year ago, I was in Bulgaria and it was 4 a.m. and I got woken up, and where I was staying was just overlooking this beautiful mountain range. And this one night, it was completely clear skies, just stars everywhere. And I got called onto my balcony overlooking this mountain range. And I sat there and I started to receive this attunement. I started to receive, and I saw it all so vividly in my mind's eye. It's something that had been sitting on the periphery for a while. I'd been teaching Soul School for 10 months at that point, and it came through as this full attunement. I've never moved so quick in my life. I went and grabbed my laptop, brought it outside, and I typed like my fingers were on fire, and typed the whole attunement out before I could forget it. I came back, and my first cohort of Soul School, which is my Akashic Records training, I passed on this attunement to them. And the results were like, I didn't know what it was, but the results started to come through of how people were working with this and saying that it's changing how they're working in the Akashic Records. And it's changed also how they were working with other energies. The next cohort started, and I passed an attunement onto them. And again, I was hearing, so 20 people now had this form of this attunement. And it was creating change in ways that went beyond what I thought was possible. It was opening the Akashic Records in ways that I didn't know was possible. Anyway, I carry on working with it, and I started to look at everything. So everything I'd worked with my psychotherapy work, everything that I'd worked through my shamanic training, the EFT, the NLP, like all of these different practices that I worked with, I began to work with them through the lens of the Akashic Records. I started to inquire, I brought them in, I looked to see what was working and what wasn't. And what became born was this flame that I introduced you to at the beginning of this evening, the flame that was sitting behind that very short practice that you did with I Love You. And as the days and the weeks went on and I became more curious, I started to hear it. And I'm going to tell you that I rejected it for a long time because it felt too big, and it felt like who could little me, what could little me do with this? And it just felt too big. Yeah, it was pretty insistent. But the day I named it was the day that it all just compounded over and over and over. And so when I was in Scotland, I made the decision. Oh, I just got goosebumps. I made the decision and I applied for the trademark, and there was a bit of a hoo-ha, but eventually it came through. And I named this healing modality that came through in, I can't even tell you. It's so simple, just like that I love you practice is one of the practices that we form in there, but it came through as this whole perfect modality, which has an attunement, but also has these incredible ways of working with the Akashic records that day by day by day, by moment by moment by moment, you are compounding your effect of your life and your evolution. And how it came through and how it needed to be named was this. Can I have a drum roll? And so today, on the 4th of January, for the first time ever, outside of my student body, thank you, Teresa, outside of my student body, I declare that Akashic Reiki is now live. A living, breathing, healing modality that works with the frequency of Reiki, the ease and the grace. Thank you for the love. The ease and the grace of a channel, of a healing modality that comes through this universal life force energy that we all have access to, that is so simple, that comes from our intention, without having to be psychic, without having to get lost in stories, without having to know 100 things to create change. Move through the Akashic records, this field of unconditional love, of pure divine blueprint, of a space that knows exactly who you are. And so as this frequency moves through the records and comes to our clients and to ourselves, it begins to change this dynamic of our divine blueprint and our overlays. So healing isn't something that we go and do on a healing table, because healing isn't fixing anymore, right? Healing is evolving. And how do we evolve? Every day in every way. Thank you for all the love. Thank you. Akashic Reiki has been the thing that I've been working with specifically for the last year, but really for my whole life. And Akashic Reiki is what I see is going to change the way that we see healing. It's going to change the way that we as practitioners hold our clients. It's going to change the way that healing is seen in the world. Because how many of us who are healers in there have been like vilified, or like, oh yeah, she's doing her woo-woo stuff, and like, oh, or like put at the bottom of the pile, and you've got these incredible tools and techniques and you're like, why isn't the world like queuing up at my door to have this incredible energy come through? And they're not, because it's like this far down the list. How many of us have had a client who said to us, oh no, I haven't got the money, sorry, I can't come to you, and then you see them go and get a massage or a facial, or sign up with a coach who charges 3 times more money than you, right? Who's been there, and you're like, what on earth? Surely healing is the most important thing. And it is, but not when healing's about fixing, because no one wants to be seen as broken. But when healing is about evolving, when healing is about, I'm becoming this, my divine blueprint is perfect. Who I am and how I serve and my desires and my goals and even my challenges are all perfectly mapped so that I can become. What Akashic Reiki does is it brings us this knowing that I'm forever growing. And the 10 students that have been with me for the last 3 months, we've got our final call on Tuesday. They felt it. Things that were struggles suddenly just seem different. I've had messages after, this is what's been so hard. I've had message after message from people who've been going through this, which I want to shout to the rooftops about how amazing it is. And I can't tell anyone. Where lifetimes of programming, of conditioning, of things that they've believed to be have fallen away in a moment. And now we do this for our clients and we do this for the world. And it had to be Reiki. It had to be Akashic Reiki. It didn't want to be, and I went through a lot of different names and I wasn't having any of it. Because for me, this is so important that it needed to be so simple. What I've done with the training, so it's level 1 and level 2, that level 1 is all about living the Akashic way. Level 1 is all about, how do I live my life in everyday moment? How do I evolve and grow and heal when I'm away from the healing table? How do I work with my overlays? How when I'm in my yoga practice? How when I'm walking up the mountain? How when I'm going through an argument with my partner? How when I'm going through this, or I'm trying to do this or doing that? How are the Akashic records working with me every single day? Because they are recording this and what happened before and what's happening next and all the stuff behind you. And what we've developed with Akashic Reiki is a system that will help you live the Akashic way. And then level 2, so level 1, 6 weeks, level 2, which is a further 6 weeks, gives you the protocols that I've been working with personally that have been developed through psychotherapy work and the shamanic work and some quantum work in particular, so that we can work with that with our clients. 2-minute practices, half an hour practices. There's plenty. But I don't want to talk too much on that now. And I will talk a bit more on that tomorrow. But what we need to know now is that this system has come, and what you've just experienced with that I love you is fueled by Akashic Reiki. It's fueled by a frequency that I was honored and blessed that came through me, and that now has been spread through my current cohort of previous students. And as of tomorrow, I'm going to be opening up the doors for the next cohort, which will be starting in a couple of months. It is super cool. I'm going to put the link in here just so it's there. So if anyone wants to have a look at it, they can do. But I do want to take you through a little journey if everyone's got time. This is available for whether you are brand new and have never, I have created this, so if you've never done any spiritual work, you can come in there. And everyone that's in cohort 1 has done either Reiki training, Reiki teacher training, quantum training, or soul school with me. So it is for all levels. There's 2 levels for now, and the 3rd level will I'm working with my soul school masters. Some of them are here. And we'll be doing the teacher training in about a year's time, towards the end of next year. So there will be a level 3, but 1 and 2 for now. Soul School, which is my Akashic Records reading training, will be available later on in the year, and I have put a bundle together if you want to do all of it. Okay, so that would be like your level 2.5. I'm going to put it in there. Don't all disappear. Um, hopefully that works. Maybe Amy, maybe you can check that for me. That's what I'm going to say about it now. Apart from, my DMs are open. If you know that this is for you, you're welcome to sign up to it now. But if you want to speak to me, then my DMs are open, and I've got some of my other clients who are happy to speak to you. I could talk about it all day, but it's not this. This was just the soft. I couldn't wait to tell you, and I'll be talking about it a bit more tomorrow. But for now, who would like a little journey? It will be about 20 minutes, the journey. So it will take us past the half past mark. Give me a 1 in the chat if you would like to go for a little ride in the Akashic Records. Oh, I love. I love. Okay, I should have got you all to do 4s. I'll do that later. We're 44. We had 40 people on tonight. I don't know if we got to. But anyway, what I would love to do with you today is to tune into that divine blueprint and to tune into the overlays so that you can really have a feel of what it feels like to see and know yourself from this point of view. Okay. If you've journeyed in the records before, this will be different because we're going to be using or working with the Akashic Reiki frequency to bring you into that space. Okay, so it won't be like deep, long what we do in a one-to-one. And yeah, please know that your hands are your friends. And if at any point you just feel that you need grounding or coming back into the space, you can just bring your hands to your body. Let me hit record so I can upload this to my clients as well. Are we ready? Okay. I invite you now to come and take a breath. And just bring yourself back into the present moment, into the here and now. And I'm going to invite you to connect once again into this flame. Connect into the flame that you felt or that you saw before. And just let it be there. Just notice whether it's within the body or outside of you. Just notice where it might be. And just let yourself tune into this. This flame, this light. I just want you to say to yourself, Akashic Reiki. Just say to yourself, Akashic Reiki. And as you say those words, it opens up the field and the frequency that Akashic Reiki lives upon. The shoe is about honoring. Allow yourself to feel what it might feel like to be surrounded by this energy of divine love and divine wisdom. Of unconditional love. And as you allow yourself to just be in this frequency of full allowance, I wonder what would happen if you let the flame almost transport you into this sacred space. So as you tune into the flame, you can imagine or allow yourself to just be in this sacred hall. And as you move into this space, it's as if you found yourself home. And in front of you is this flame in a hexagon well. And as you look through the flame, you notice that there's this beautiful six-pointed star. And this six-pointed star seems to be living, breathing, shimmering. It has this geometric perfection. And maybe there's colors or shapes, textures. But as you tune into it and you feel its light, you somehow know that this is your divine blueprint. That this is the hologram of you, of your soul, of all that is perfect about you, of all of the invitations of who you might become in this life. And within there contains your history and your astrology, your genetic makeup, the circumstances to which you were born, your personality traits, and the things that have happened, and even the wishes and the desires. And it moves and it breathes, and it's almost like with every thought, with every feeling, it fluctuates, yet it stays bright. It has this divinity, it has this perfection around it. And if you listen to it, and if you heard it, well, perhaps right now you listen to it and you hear it and you tune into it and notice what it might say. Let it speak to you. Let yourself tune in to this blueprint. Let yourself know that this is you, really you. And as you become accustomed to this six-pointed star, you begin to look above it and around it. And you may see that there's some shimmers or some light, some sheets, some covers, maybe even some chains or rocks that sit above it. These overlays that contain the conditioning and the programs, the things that you've believed yourself to be, but known somehow that they were never truly you. The identities and the shame and the anger, the things that you've repressed or suppressed, the things that you've not allowed yourself to do. And as you notice how they lay on top, maybe in different colors or textures, frequencies, I just want you to pick one, just one of those overlays. And there's one there that's just ready. There's one there that perhaps brought you here tonight. There's one there that is ready to be seen and known. And this one you access now. And rather than trying to discover what it is or where it's come from, we're just going to see it, really see it, really feel it, really just allow it to be there. Just tune in to this overlay. Maybe it's a color or a sound, a shape, a memory. Maybe it's a symbol or song. Just let yourself be with it for a moment. And just say, I see you. I really see you. I see you. I know you. Thank you. Thank you for helping me know you. Everything that brought me to you happened. It all happened. And whilst I see you and I know you, I know that I am not you. And even though I know that I am not you, right now I love you. I send you my love. Or perhaps, if it feels better, you just allow for love, the highest form of love that you know, to meet this. And as you do this, the flame that you connected to, let it meet this overlay. And without having to do anything, without having to micromanage and fix this, just notice what happens as you pour your love, your understanding, your acceptance into this overlay. Notice what happens. I love you. Thank you. And whatever the case, this overlay that has guided you and has given you experiences and has certainly made itself known, for now and forevermore, no longer needs to be in charge. It no longer needs to be the guiding star. And your divine blueprint, this beautiful six-pointed shimmering star, it has use for this. And so the flame and the star and the overlay can all meet and integrate, knowing that nothing else needs to be done. And perhaps you notice that whatever was contained in here now moves back, integrated into the oval, into the blueprint, into the star. Leaving you a little more evolved. One less overlay on the lap. Your awareness coming back to the flame, And just asking if there's any additional guidance, any words, any messages, which may or may not come. But knowing that you are open to receive over the coming minutes, days, weeks. And as you tune back into this flame in front of you, I invite you to bring it back into the body. Bring the flame back into the body. And as you bring the flame back into the body, you allow for that awareness to bring you back into your body. And just feel as your breath and as the flame and as your consciousness moves back into you. And just notice what's changed. Notice what feels different. Notice if your body is giving you any signals. And you can bring your hand to anywhere that feels good and just take a really nice breath in. And as you allow yourself to come back, just stating out loud or in your mind, whatever feels good, I am my higher self. I am my higher self. I live my divine blueprint. My purpose is my path. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And just come back in your own time. Just let the flame bring your awareness back into your head. You might want to move your legs, your arms, your stretch. And if it feels good, just give yourself a little brush down with your hands, maybe a little stamp on your feet. Back and let me know. What did you experience? It's 3:33. I love that. Very peaceful. The meditation was 14 minutes and 14 seconds. There's my fours again. Love. Okay, so let me know. What did you learn? What happened? What changed? Who got an overlay? Lots of releasing. Amazing. Oh, you dozed off. We might talk about that tomorrow. Shedding. Amazing. Did anyone get an inkling of what the overlay was about and what changed with it? Oh wow, that was amazing. I feel calmer and lighter, emotional. Emotions are good. Emotions are just things moving through you. Very calming. Good. My overlay was a female energy. Interesting. My overlays were gold chains above me. They all broke except one. The last one disintegrated and floated into the flame. It said, "You're free." You integrated an overlay and you gained an understanding. That's amazing. Elena, mine was about a limiting belief. I think I saw a chain. Because here's the thing, right? Is that in my overlay was the yellow pages. Do you know what, Sandra? That's exactly how I saw it. I was like, oh my God, there is a lot. Not on yours, but like how I saw it. Just this like thick book. If anyone's too young to remember the yellow pages, I'm sorry. But they were a big book. But this is how we live, from psychotherapeutic terms or psychological terms. They say that we live mainly unconsciously. That, something like 90 something percent of everything's unconscious, and unconscious is it we're fueled, if you like, by our programmings. You know, as we live our life, we create these neural pathways that just become the default, and we start to live by default. Something happens, we have a trigger, and then, you know, not a bad trigger, but like something happens, and then there's a series of consequent actions. And the more we do it, the more they perpetuate, and they start to get stronger neurologically, physiologically in the body. And you know, they say that this path of awakening is to make more of ourselves conscious, and this is what this is doing. We stop as we walk the Akashic path. This is my word of the year, Akashic. As we walk the Akashic path, we become more present, and as we become more present, those programmings stop being the default. We start to understand that, okay, well, this has happened, and it does not mean that I have to now go down this route. This happened, and now what's my invitation? This happened, and now what am I learning? How many of us have been through something super hard, and then in hindsight, we're like, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, even though it was really shit in the first place. And I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. But in hindsight, it helped me become, right? Because this is it. When we start, if we lived this life, if we lived every single day like that, well, this is happening and this is hard. And maybe there's something in here that's helping me become. Maybe I'm evolving here. If I was evolving, not, oh, everything happens for a reason, but if I was evolving, where would I be evolving to? If this had a lesson, what would the lesson be? And we start to live like this, it changes everything. We can get through anything. We make choices. This is living the Akashic way. And what we've done with Akashic Reiki is not like, here's a healing modality that you just use in this box. It is a healing modality, and you can use it in a box. You've got a ton of protocols that sit in here. But more than that, and the feedback that I've had from my students is, it's a way of life. It's a way of being. It's who I'm becoming as a human, as a healer, as a practitioner, as a guide, but just as a soul living this human body. We're flipping the switch. We're changing the baseline. That yes, we're forever healing, but we're not forever fixing. We're stop trying to micromanage the universe, and we're trusting in everything. Just want to read the comments. It was like a sheet with holes as I am evolving and breaking through, waiting to be shared. Beautiful. My overlay was a thread about confidence. Amazing. You know, maybe I'll talk about this more tomorrow, but I will talk about this more tomorrow. Our desires aren't coincidental. They're part of this divine blueprint. Even today, I went for a walk on my own for an hour, just preparing for tonight. And I was like having a chat with the divine. And I'm like, all right, you know, I'm voicing what I'm feeling, and I'm voicing what I want, and I'm like, you gave this to me, and I've just done what I need to do, so now it's over in your hands, and I'm just going to do the best I can. I'm going to be in this true service. But I realized that what I was given was a unique position, that I've always had this ability to take big concepts and to bring them into something very grounded, and to teach them to make them very accessible. That's always been my thing. And I've always had this insatiable curiosity to want to know about everything. There's these skills that I have, which I've utilized, which were there for me. And the confidence thing, you know, sits from these overlays, sits from this like perpetual seeker, which is the shadow of being eternally curious. But which one am I taking? And so as I healed my overlays of imposter, as I healed my overlays of, well, I need to be more confident, and it became part of me, it fueled me. So I start to live the choiceless path. I don't have to sit there and go, right, am I going to create a healing modality today? The healing modality came through me. Yes, I had to make choices, but it wasn't really. There was an inevitability that sat with this. And this, as we train ourselves to live in this Akashic field, And we work with it, and we work with the protocols that I'll be sharing over the 12 weeks of how to actually do this in 2 minutes, in 1 minute, in 30 seconds, in the moment, and the longer journeys and techniques that we do. It changes the way we're going, and then off we go, and suddenly we're like, well, how did this happen? But then we're not surprised because we knew what was going to happen. The overlay was a sheet that behind it was me full of vitality, a vision I've seen before. Your nature is vital, and you know what? Carrying these overlays, you imagine this, is heavy. This is the shadow work. The analogy I gave of I bring my bag in. Did you see that? Oh, you bring that bag in. It's because it's heavy. It doesn't need to be, because we're living from this. What if we put it down and the Akashic field goes, oh, I see you, I love you, it's all good. And we wear it rather than carry it. We integrate it and we use it, and it becomes part of our body, which we then burn and use as fuel. Okay, I've been working on this shame I have, feeling like a selfish person. Oh, Heather, I can talk to you about selfishness all day long. It also shows up in my dreams. So the overlay was there as a door in my dreams, and I inspected it. The overlay dissolved finally in the ocean. Oh, beautiful. The ocean came from the other side, and I was swimming in it like an integration. This is another lie we've been sold. We do things for us. And as we truly do things for us, and this is definitely what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. As we truly do things for us, we're doing something for our community. And as we do something for our community, we do it for the world. I created this. It came through me. It lit me up every time something came in. I was sitting over there writing the manual and putting all the protocols together. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I was like, this is blowing my mind. Like, and it lit me up and it fueled me. It wasn't me being a martyr, like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. It's me. It's from me. I had to go and indulge myself, going to Scotland and working with these mentors and, doing all the things that I've been doing. For me, it's my desire. It's there by design. And as I do this, it creates something which right now, 10 of my students are like, having their minds blown and changing their lives. So I was chatting to God about earlier. I was like, look at this, look at how amazing it's done. And some of the personal feedback I've had, I'm like, I had to do this, but in order for it to come through, it's I had to be selfish in quotation marks. And that's how I serve. So you swim in your selfishness, your permission. I inspected the door. The door was the overlay and it dissolved. Amazing. I felt so at home, so much emotion. The hard stuff is growth. Yes. I've been writing notes. It was beautiful and colourful. You are very welcome. I don't remember most about it. I went in a deep trance. Yeah, and that's quite normal. And this is the thing. And having taught Soul School for the last 2 years, and having taught psychic development and intuitive development and even mediumship, I can see where we can get lost, where we're trying to find the stories, where we're trying to interpret, and we get in our own way because we're trying to make meaning out of something. Whereas the Akashic Records have all the answers. We might not be able to understand it, but when we tune into that field, we're creating this direct dial. And what I've created through Akashic Reiki is you don't need to understand it cognitively. You just need to be open with it. If you want to start going into, well, how do I read the Akashic Records and do the past lives and be in the journey? And I know, Moonlight, you're a hypnotherapist, so you're probably going to trance very easily, but if you want to start doing that, that's what Soul School's about. Soul School is the reading the Akashic Records. This is the working with the Akashic Records in a way that's for your life. and easy for your clients. Like with Reiki, you don't have to interpret anything. You can just follow the protocols, and there's certain things that we do. So there's none of that. Okay, I've spoken for far too long. Only 15 minutes. That's quite good. So Akashic Reiki will be open to like the public tomorrow. For now, it's just you in here, and anyone who's watching the replay, which will come out. If you want to speak to me personally, my inbox is open. I'm around from a lot of tomorrow. Just send me a message. The link somewhere up here. I'll pop it in again. I'll tell you what, if you do sign up tonight, and I don't want to go into this too much, but if you do sign up tonight, tomorrow, I've got a special gift for you. But yeah, this is there for now. Just be in with this energy. Just speak to Akashic Reiki. It's a living, breathing thing that's open. I will be back tomorrow, 7 p.m., same time for part 2. And that's when, and I'll go a little bit more into Akashic Reiki and what it means, and I'll be streaming it onto my public profile as well. So no more hiding, and I'll be introducing you to my 10 practitioners as well. So I hope you enjoyed this evening. Thank you for being here for my monumental announcement. And I look forward to serving some of you in true service for the next cohort. Oh, I've got one more thing. No, I'm going to save it for tomorrow. I'm going to save it tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you all. Bye bye bye.